Let me introduce myself real quick. I know last year I'm seeing some familiar faces. Were you all here last year when I was here? I just wanted to kind of get a few hands up. Okay, a few of you, definitely a few of you. For those that did not have a chance to spend time with last year, my name is Steve Huber, and my specific job or my specific calling is helping people resolve conflict. And you guys are much more smiley faces than what I usually get when I walk in the door. I walk at 9 a.m. and they've already had their breakfast probably, but I walk in, I get looks like this. And I know that's not good, but I've become desensitized to that anyways. I'm used to it. And it's this. So you're going to come in my company, my organization, and you're going to solve all my conflict needs, and then just like a magic wand, everything's going to be okay. And what I really do is I have to give them kind of a little sales job and say, no, that's not true. I would never, ever be that presumptuous. I say, but I'm going to try my best to do it. What I want to do this morning, though, is give you some specific skills that you might take out to not only your congregation, but the people who right now who are on your team. And the subject is caring for your team. And I speak from somebody who was actually not in this industry about 5-6 years ago. I was actually a tennis pro for 15 years. And on the tennis courts, when you have ladies tennis in the morning, let me tell you, that's a very interesting team dynamic. And I remember one specific example of me going in there, and I'm about ready to run a meeting. So anyways, I'm pulling in the parking lot, ready to go into the pro shop, ready to run this team captain's meeting, and I'm getting these looks just like this. But it was worse. It was kind of like, if you don't do something quickly, your job is on the line. So I walk into the pro shop as I'm about ready to do a captain's meeting, about 12 people, probably about 10, 12 people on the team. I go in there and I go, what am I going to do to cope with this? I go, I don't know how to deal with this. I'm just this guy that puts out fires all day long. I shoot this, I shoot that, and I consider myself a professional firefighter, basically. I go in there and there was a member in there, and I'm going to have to make an admission to you. I didn't handle it very well. He had half of a Xanax. And I went in there and said, can I please have half your Xanax right now? I am not going to be able to make it through this one. I took it, but you know something? God started working on my heart at that moment. He started speaking to me and saying, how are you coping with this? How are you really caring for your team? How do you look at them? Do you know they're diverse? They're different people. They all come from a unique perspective and don't think like you do. How can you be more proactive and plan ahead? And so what I really want to teach you this morning is give you some skills, things that you can do for your team. So the reason why we're going to move around a little bit, I just don't want to come here and give you a half-hour, 45-minute lecture. What I really want to do this morning is give you some really good tools that I think will help you when you go out there. And that's kind of what I have with the sheets of paper. So thank you for allowing me to be here. I really appreciate it. And thank you for allowing me to share my story. And I hope that at the end, if you get something out of it, I remember Pastor Rick Tirado actually emailed me last year, and I had an opportunity to go into his church and do a few other things. I'm always available. My wife and I, Vanessa, she's not here this morning, but we're always available to help out in any way. I'll give you my email address before I leave. How's that sound to you? Okay, fantastic. All right, well, let me do this real quick. What I want to do is I want to kind of talk about conflict resolution. And let me ask you a quick question. If I were to say the word conflict, what's the first thing that comes to your mind? Issues, okay? Argument. Situations. Tension. Absolutely. Stress. Yep. Disagreement, right. Do you think that conflict is a bad thing?
No.
Okay. It depends, right? What does it depend on? Yes.
Bad.
Okay. I have two reactions I usually get when I mention the word conflict. The first reaction is this. Please tell me the quickest hill I can run to. I'm going to take off. I don't want to deal with that. The second one I get is this. Conflict, I'll take it all day long. Give it to me. I'll give it right back to that person easily. So I get these types of behavior, these two types of reaction to conflict. And what I'm really here to tell you is three things. Number one is when we handle conflict, number one is we're getting things out on the table. We're being honest. Sometimes for the first time. Because people really struggle with being honest and saying, okay, this is what's going on. Number two, we become solution focused when we learn to deal with conflict. And number three, it keeps you from going crazy. It really does. Now, I'm in mental health counseling in the past, so I'm not going to have you Baker Act if you admit that you're crazy. That's okay. Because I'm crazy too, right along with you. So, and I have my hardships, and I share with how I had dealt with conflict in the past, but I really hope that you will enjoy these tools. Number one, here's what I want you to do. I want you to interview somebody real quick. And I want you to ask them 3 questions. If you could do me a favor, 3 questions. And when you ask the 3 questions, I'm going to challenge you to do one thing. Don't write the answers down. I'm going to ask you to look at that individual and try to get as much information as you can. Do you know that when we communicate information, that 93% of all communication is nonverbal? You probably heard that before. And when I mean nonverbal language, I mean the gestures, how we say it, maybe our voice tone. It may drop, it may go up. Talk a little bit about voice tone today. Another thing is our eye movements, how we look at people. In our culture today, we say that if you make good eye contact, you're doing what?
Doing well.
Confidence. I'm engaged. I'm interested in what you're saying. Honest. Yep. Sometimes the liars know that too. They'll look at you really close and they'll just keep staring at you. So sometimes that's not the end all be all, but 93% of what we communicate is nonverbal information. Can you believe only 7% of what we communicate is actually what we are saying? So I'm going to challenge you to do one thing, this little exercise. Ask your partner, team up with somebody, ask them these 3 questions. Number 1, what is your favorite ice cream? Number 2, what is your favorite all-time movie? And the third one's my favorite. Where would you like to be right now? I'm talking about the dream question, okay? And I'm talking about Star Trek here, okay? I'm a Star Trek buff. I'm talking about having yourself transported out of here. Just stay within the confines of the universe. That's all I ask. Anywhere you want to go right now, if you could invest your time, what would it be? And don't write down the answer. See if you can stay engaged. I'll be right back with you in 2 minutes. Have fun. Okay, how is everybody doing so far? Need more time? Good? Okay, all right, now, here's the exercise. If you could write down the answers to these 3 questions. Number 1, what is your partner's favorite ice cream? Number 2, what is their favorite all-time movie? And number 3, what was their big, by the way, that third question is kind of a dream big question. Think beyond the box. What was their answer? Where would they want to be? Where would they want to go? And here's question number 4. But for question number 4, you can't look at your partner. So I got to make sure I got all eyes here. Okay, I can see all your eyeballs. That's good. What, can you give me maybe the color of the shirt, jacket, blouse, whatever it is, and the type of what they're wearing for question number 4? Do you remember?
Yeah.
And the what?
Okay. Maybe the color of their blouse, color of their shirt. Do you remember maybe what type of shirt it was? Did it have anything, any logos on it? Anything like that? Do you remember that? But you can't look, you can't peek. People are so I can see people going like this. Just out of curiosity, how many people got question 4 right? Cool. I mean, we're about 50-50 split. If we're playing baseball, we're doing great. We're batting 500. That's awesome. The reason why I did the 4th question is because it really represents that 93% of what we're going to talk about. The 93% is what is going on below the surface of the water that's manifesting these different behaviors from your team players, the people on your team. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to introduce 4 different types of team players, team members that you might be running across to right now. So if you want to write this down, there's 4 types. Number 1 is the first person is what I call the get it done person. The person on your team that's the get it done. The second person is what we call the get it right. The get it right team member. The third team member is the get appreciated. And 4th is the get along. The get along. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to give you some characteristics of each 4 of these type of communicators. Each 4 of these type of team members. Remember though, we're all unique. I'm not trying to box anybody in, but you might see or hear some familiarity amongst these 4. Let's start with the get it done because they're the most fun. Get it done, their number 1 quality is these are the leaders of your team. These are the team leaders. When there's something to do, that person's going to immediately go to the forefront and say, me, I want to do it. I want to take the lead on it. Also, they're very efficient too. I look at the get it done like this. They stand here and they have about 26 plates spinning all across the room right now. They're all going around, they're all being done. But here's what that get it done person's doing. Okay, you go get that plate, you go get that plate, you go get that plate, and keep them going. Basically, their fundamental idea is as many things as I get done before the end of the day, I'm happy. Get them all done. Here's the issue, though, with the get it done. You want to watch out for. Number one is they tend to be a little bit, we call the know-it-all. They're like, I know everything, I know what to do. And number two is they tend to rule by force instead of cooperation. Has anyone seen that on your team at all? Okay. We call that the get it done person. Now, one thing about the get it done too is they're the taskmaster, but I'm actually going to talk about the get it right next, because the get it right and get it done are your taskmasters as well. They both are, but they see life a little bit differently. So let's talk about the get it right real quick. Get it right person is the one that actually is the accurate person. They're the one that has every I dotted and T crossed. Every single one of them. They're very, very efficient too, but they're very meticulous in how they do it. They get it done, goes, okay, get a whole bunch of stuff, let's get all done. So they got the 26 plates spinning, but maybe a few might be wobbling, but they get it done, so it doesn't matter, they're still getting done. They get it right though, goes, no, I don't think so. I see these plates and they're wobbling. Instead of getting 26 done, the get it right person says, let's just do 10 and make sure they're all perfectly done. Perfectly. Number one is they're accurate. They're very organized. However, you're thinking get it right people, they're perfect. Well, they're not. Here's something to watch out for with your team member who's more of a get it right. Watch out for this. They're a little bit stubborn when it comes to change. They're kind of like this. Well, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. That's kind of how they see life. And when you try to get them to move forward a little bit, they kind of drag their feet. So they might be a little more resistant to that change. It might be a little scary for them. So what I'm going to do is, after I go through all four of these, I'm going to give you some tips on how to communicate better with these team members. Let's go through two more, though. Get appreciated. Get appreciated. I love get appreciated. They're awesome. You probably have a few of these. Number one about get appreciated is these are your master brainstormers. They're like, oh, I got this great idea on this new ministry opportunity. We got to take advantage of this. This is wonderful. Hey, you got to come over here. We got to do this. It's going to be awesome. Very charismatic. Very charismatic in their approach. They're full of great ideas. Another thing is they always see the glass half full that get appreciated. Whenever someone says, well, we hit a dead end, maybe they get it right, might say, oh, we hit a dead end, we can't do that anymore. Let's clear the map, let's start all over again. They get appreciated, goes like this. No, we can do this, guys. We can do this. Let's go over here, and we can accomplish the task. And everybody's like, wow, that's a great idea, let's do it. Well, here's the problem with the get appreciated. This might be someone on your team. They get appreciated, have all these brilliant ideas, about 100 of them, but all 100 of them are never getting completed. They're the ones that say, well, yeah, I'll do it, and then all of a sudden it just gets dropped by the wayside. They might have all these brilliant ideas, you as a pastor, and say, you really need to incorporate this ministry and do it. You might say, well, take the lead on it, and go, okay. And then you check back with them 2 weeks later, and they go, is everything okay? And they go, no, not really, I forgot about it. I'm on to something different, more exciting. Have you seen that before? Guess what? I got to share a story with you. I'm right now working with a team member. I feel like more like a coach to them right now. But this team member, they are full of great ideas. I said, well, follow back up with me in 3 days. I don't hear back from them. So I'll call maybe 4 or 5 days later and I say, hey, how's that project going? Did you make those calls? And they go, oh, I forgot all about that. So they tend to sometimes lean on the ADHD side. Not that I'm trying to box anybody in and saying they do, but sometimes it can be you're a little bit of ADHDers and get lost in translation along the way. All right, last but not least, get along. Get along. These are the ones that are like, oh, can we all get together right now? Can we hold hands and sing Kumbaya? It would be so wonderful. Give me a hug. I just love you. So we have the get appreciated person that says this, okay, all right, guys, I got some great ideas. It's like a baseball game. Can I be up at bat all 9 times so you guys can watch how good a batter I am? That's the get appreciated. When the get along actually goes, I don't care if I ever bat. I just love you guys. I just want to watch you from the dugout. Go, go, go. Rock, rock, rock team. That's your get along. Very patient, by the way. Your get along is a very patient person. Long suffering. Very, very, very good at keeping information confidential. You're kind of your one-on-one people. Unfortunately, to get appreciated, they'll say, oh, I'll keep it a secret. And the next thing, can you believe that person just told me? So to get appreciated tends to talk a little bit more gregarious. But the get along that you have in your team is very patient, very long suffering. And I'll tell you one more thing. They're very sensitive to other people's feelings. You might have some people right now on your team are just like that. So you're thinking, okay, this is good, right? Get along is perfect, right? Not really. I'm going to give you a visual example of get along real quick. Let's say I got Jerome right here. Here's the get along. They get upset about something. You might have told them something they didn't want to hear. And they say, hey, are you okay? The get along goes, I'm great. Nothing's wrong. Everything's fine. And all of a sudden the get along goes down here. And the pastor's walking. You take a few pot shots. These are what you call your passive aggressive. So what they tend to do is they tend to tell you, oh, I'm doing great, everything's fine. But they don't want to tell you verbally as much. They keep it more inside. So they may look for the right time, maybe some gossiping. There may be times where they may be sticking a little sarcastic comment. And you ask to get along, what do you mean by that? It goes, oh, I didn't mean anything by that. Everything's fine. Matter of fact, I'm dealing with one thing today in conflict resolution. I'm dealing with texting. It's becoming a real issue with passive-aggressive behavior. I notice there's more and more texts that are going through that have a kind of a negative connotation to them. And then the pastor or the person or organization said, can I give you clarification on that? Oh, no clarification. I love you, pastor. You're awesome. So they may not be as influenced by actually presenting themselves and say, hey, I got a problem. They're also your yes people. They're the ones that say yes, 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 because they don't want to let you down. But unfortunately, they said yes, 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 yes to too many people, and they sometimes get double booked. So let me give you 4 quick tips, and we're actually going to go through a process. Did everybody get a sheet of paper? We're actually going to take you through a process. We're going to talk about one specific area, but let me give you some tips on how to do it. Let's start with the get it done. Here's are the efficient ones. These are the ones that kind of blast through, and we call them the tanks, by the way. The nickname for the get it done is the tank. And let me give you 2 tips if you have a team member who's more, we call a get it done person. Number 1, when you approach them, make sure you have your information already there. Get it done people really pride themselves already knowing their stuff. So when an individual may be waffling and not know their stuff, they tend to look at that as lack of preparation. So when you do present to that person, just make sure you kind of rehearse a couple things, maybe go through a few talking points with that individual. It's actually a matter of respect for that person. Also, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but they tend to operate with their voice tone a little bit higher. Kind of go, hey, I need this, I need this, I need that. And they just operate more at a level 10. They're not really mad or anything. Sometimes one of the 4 types actually gets a little upset. When they get it done, gets a little louder. It's not that bad to kind of go into that 3-foot area. In American culture, we have kind of a 3-foot area. We don't want to invade 2 feet or go too far back to 4 or 5 feet. When they get it done, it's okay to go about 3 feet with them. Make good eye contact when you're talking to them. One other thing with the get it done, use open-ended questions. Because the get it done likes the power and control. So what you're doing is you're actually playing a game of tennis with them. Just hit the ball in their court. I know, what do you think? Hit the ball back to them, and the get it done says, okay, I have control of the conversation, but they really don't actually. Because you're using open-ended questions to get your answers. Any questions about the get it done? Okay, let me go to the get it right real quick. Get it right, we've got this accuracy, we've got this pride on being the I's dotted and T's crossed. Number 1 tip for get it right is do not doubt them. They really, really take it tough when you doubt what they've done, because these are your researchers. These are the ones that analyze. They might do some demographics on different ministries that are similar at different churches, and they really do their homework. So when you kind of introduce a topic to them and say, I know already that you've done your homework on this, but I'm just going to ask a couple questions real quick, but don't take that the wrong way, because what I really mean is I just want more information from you because I trust you. Saying something like that to the get it right is awesome. They immediately will respond and start talking, because sometimes the get it right tends to shut down. So the way to get them out is to actually let them know right away, hey, I trust you. You also use I and we messages. Use the I statements. When you go you, sometimes the get it right gets on a little bit of a defensive, and they shut down. Use I and we message with them because it communicates team. And say, hey, you're not alone in this. You're on a team and I trust you. Okay, real quickly, get appreciated. Get appreciated. The number 1 thing I can tell you, you want to make sure you give them the constraints too, but with the get appreciated, let them have the floor a little bit. They love it. Give an opportunity to speak. Give an opportunity to do something or to lead something. But one really big tip is put their feet to the fire. Because don't allow them to go off and do something else. Keep them focused. But it is great to keep them actively involved. These are your emotional people, high charge, high octane emotional people that just are very charismatic, good speakers. They're the ones you want to give that opportunity to because they feel like they're important. Often I've found out get appreciated people don't feel important when they're not given that opportunity to speak and voice their opinion. Last but not least, to get along. Here's a couple tips for to get along. Number one with the get along is make sure you make confidentiality safe with them. Make honesty safe with them. These are your ones that really want to share their feelings. So give them a comfort level and say, hey, listen, it's safe. You're safe to speak. We're going to keep this confidential. And I'm not going to share this with anybody you don't want to share it with. Number two with them, voice tone. Notice how to get it done, we got the high voice tone. With the get along, it's a little softer. So when you present yourself to them, just drop the voice tone a little bit, kind of meet them where they're at. We call this empathy in psychology. Just maybe a little more empathetic, lower the voice tone. Any questions? Okay. All right, I got an exercise for you. Yes, go ahead.
You called the first one tanks, where the other three?
Okay, yeah, the get it right, I sometimes call them the, they're not the know-it-all, but they're more like the thinker. I kind of give them the thinker, the analyzer. The get appreciated, I call them the charismaniac sometimes, but at the same time, I call the get appreciated the aggressor. They're the ones that would get more defensive, and to get along, I call them the kumbaya hold hands. They would actually go in the communication side, they go more in the sensitivity. Good question. Anybody else?
Yeah,
All right.
I have a question.
Yes, go ahead.
I'm sure you find people who have traits from multiple.
All of them,
Yeah.
yes. Matter of fact, Larry brought up something cool that I want to continue on, is that we really actually want to communicate in all four. And the reason why is it's based on this. A good communicator speaks well in their own language, but a great communicator speaks well in all languages. When you learn to adapt your communication style to meet these team members where they're at, you get so much more out of them, and that's such a good point. That's where we really want to be. And I always use the model of the cross with the different communicators, and that if you break them up into 4 sections, you've got a cross here. And the one who actually met middle on the cross with Jesus, he actually represented all these communication styles. When it was time to step up, he stepped up. When it was time to be caring, he was caring. He adapted to adjust with different people. Yes?
Which of the 4 communicator styles would you expect to dominate a conversation?
2, and in different ways. The get it done, absolutely, they would want to dominate, only because of the fact that they think that the rest of the people do not have what it takes to step up. They kind of take it upon themselves, I'm stepping up. The get appreciated also would do that, but they do it more from the standpoint of, hey, I want you to pay attention to me and recognize me for how good I am, appreciate me. So those 2 would usually be the ones that would do that. They're more what we call the aggressive types, but they do it for different reasons.
And how would you respond to them to protect the other 2?
It's a good question. Matter of fact, I find that the get along and the get it done have a lot of conflict with each other. They don't understand. What I do to try to keep the sanctity of that conversation going is I lay out 2 things. Number one, it's almost like a mediator, I'm kind of in the middle. When I have an extreme get it done person and that get along person is the one that they're most adverse with, I tell them, woofa, to the get it done. Woofa. Wait for answer. I really encourage, also, I also encourage to get along in that situation, that dynamic, to step up. Don't shy away. This is a matter of respect. This person's looking to say, can I depend on you to spin the plate? And so to get along person has this plate spinning, but if it starts wobbling, the get it done gets a little out of control. So I say, get along, you gotta step up. That's what they're expecting from you. And I would say, know your stuff, I would say to the get along.
So that would be kind of personal counseling or pastoring that you would do individually with these folks.
I would actually put them in a situation and actually have them learn to communicate. I do a little bit of the MAGO stuff with them, not to where it's too deep like a marriage and family counseling session, but I do it more from the standpoint of saying, okay, when an individual says something, repeat a few things back, give them validation when you do it so they know they've been heard, especially to get along. They really need that validation. I don't think the get it done even cares about it. So don't give me that. Sometimes to get it done, if I get into this too deep stuff, to get it done says, I'm through with you, I'm out of here. But the get along goes, let me hang here with you for a little longer and hold your hand. It's different. They want to hang in longer. The second part of your question is when I've got the get it right and the get appreciated, I actually present that completely differently. The get appreciated is off to kind of in their own direction. They're kind of look at this, look at that. And I noticed that the get it right does not like that very much. The get it right is, what is wrong with you? The get it right looks at the get appreciated and says, you got two heads. And they're both talking, stop talking. So what I do with this dynamic is I get the get appreciated person to look at the get it right individual and say, listen, if you don't have your stuff together or schedule an appointment with this person, you're not going to gain any headway. You can have ideas all over the place, but if you don't at least give them one and have that organized in a proper fashion, then you're not going to get anything out of them. So what I do is I encourage them to understand their perspective. And last but not least, when I got the get it right individual, I try to tell them, let them know, say, hey, listen, it's okay to step out. Paralysis of analysis is not going to work here. You're going to have to make a decision, especially if you want to take leadership on something and be trusted. Make sure when you step out that you are a little bit of a risk taker. Because people will be like, I don't want to have to do anything with this person. So that's kind of where those four dynamics, I would kind of get in the middle and work with them. It's not always that perfect. If I told you it was, I'm lying to you. Because sometimes I have two get it dones that, I got two get appreciateds that want to be noticed. It's like the Mia Hamm thing, anything you can do, I can do better. No, you can't, yes, I can, no, you can't. So there can be other dynamics where you have to kind of step in and be able to get them to understand each other. Or maybe they understand each other too well, and that could lead to a whole different problem. So good question. Anybody else?
Yeah, how do you help a get it done, get along?
Oh, that's a loaded question. If I have a high octane get it done, you mean as far as a relationship with the get along or how to become a get along?
Well, I could be wrong, but I see people who are things and, you know, and they have that get it done attitude, but they tend to step on everybody else.
They sure do. Yep. One thing I would do is I would take the situational leadership model and with the get it done and say, listen, there's going to be a time and place where you're going to have to take more of a directive approach with this person. I also call them that they're the director. Understand that I would try to get them to go follower oriented with their coaching. If you have a get along, somebody is willing, but maybe they're not able and they need some more information from you. So what I would do in that dynamic with the get along is I would encourage to get it done to adjust your leadership style and say, okay, be more follower driven. What are they giving from you now? They said they were willing. Don't tap that. Let's go another route. Let's go a different angle and say, okay, they're willing, but how can I equip them? But I will also tell the get it done to make sure they get along and write stuff down because they have trouble with that as well. So, it's a good question. Anything else? Yes, sir.
Just curious, how do you deal with leadership that isn't a get it done? Because that's what you expect. But what if you have like a get along leadership?
Yeah.
Or you get like a get it right leader, and they have all these other personalities, and then they have someone on their staff that's like a get it done.
Yeah. That's a very good question. If I'm trying to mentor a get along to take the more of the leadership role, what I would do is I would it's the frog in the pot example. Turn the heat up slowly on the get along. Doesn't know it's being boiled, and all of a sudden you say, my son, you're leader now. You didn't even know it was happening. So turn up the pot slowly on the get along because they're just going to take baby steps. Get them small things in the beginning, and then when they incur that trust with the get it done, increase it because the respect level starts to grow. The get it right is a completely different dynamic. When you got the get it right, they already have that in their head, the leadership in their head. They already know what to do. What I would do is give them opportunities to be in front of other people and learn to actually express and articulate themselves because they sometimes struggle with the articulation of what's inside of them. They have it in there already. They just need a little encouragement to say it's okay to step out and get it out there in front of them. They're very smart. Not that I'm boxing them and say they're only smart people, but there's a lot going on in there, and it's just giving them opportunities to present themselves and be more confident. I worked with a couple people who are very get it right, and I said, hey, why don't you participate in a Toastmasters event, learn how to become a better speaker, and they learn to get this stuff out of their mouth because it's here already. Good question. Go, please. You just let me know because I can go on forever. And I know you guys want breakfast.
Yeah.
And we'll cut it down to one exercise. So I know you got plans. You actually have a church to run. So I want to make sure I don't take your time. Okay, all right. Let me get that question. We'll right to the exercise.
So is this a class that you teach?
Yes. Well, here at PBA, I teach a class called Mediating Organizational Conflict. And we talk about some of these things that happen. We go a little deeper in some of the areas, but yeah, we do. And it's just, it's a wonderful group of students here. Great, just very professional. Yeah. All right, we ready to have some fun? You guys have been sitting too much. So I promised you morning calisthenics, and I haven't delivered my promise yet. So I want to make sure I deliver my campaign promise. Would you do me a favor? I want to try to get 4 groups together, 4 groups. And what we're going to do is I'm going to pass on an envelope how you draw something out of the envelope. Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to put you all on a team. And it has to do with this sheet of paper right here. We're going to have fun. We're going to plan a party together. This can be any party you want. It can be a Christmas party, whatever it might be. And we've got a few options here on the party. There's a couple little things I need to tell you, though. In the party, you're going to try to reach a consensus to try to get agreement on all 3 of these items. So you have 3 sub-items in the categories. I'll read them out to you. You got, where is the party going to be at? There's 3 choices. Number 2, what are the refreshments going to be at the party? 3 choices. And 3 is, what's the entertainment going to be? How are we going to have some fun at the party? Here's the deal. One of you all in the group, as we pass out these envelopes, will be selected as the mole in the group. That means you have a hidden agenda in the group to why you maybe want them to go to some place or have certain refreshments or plan the entertainment. I'm going to give you an example of a hidden agenda. So in each group, one individual will get a letter. When you pull it out, it's going to have M for mole. That means you are the mole. So what I'm really going to ask you to do is not show anybody the paper you got. Try to keep it hidden. The whole point of the exercise is to talk about this get along, get it right dynamic, where you have passive-aggressive behavior can develop in an organization. And when you have people with hidden agendas, it doesn't get too much fun, does it? So what the job is in this exercise is to spot out who you thought the mole was in the process, and number 2, what was their hidden agenda. Let me give you an awesome example here. Let's say you want to pick a location as your hidden agenda, and you're the person with the M that you're going to get. Let's say, hey, I think we should go to the Grand Ballroom at the Mayfair Hotel. The cost is $1,000. Room rental, atmosphere, ritzy. The Mayfair is the classiest place in town. And you're trying to really pitch in and say, guys, we need to select this. This is the one we need to go with. Well, however, you were the one with the M, and you had the hidden agenda, and here's what your hidden agenda was. You got a buddy that works there. And that buddy says, hey, if you can get the group to go over to this hotel, I'm going to stick you $300 in your pocket. No questions asked. We're good. So that person's getting a $300 kickback. They don't know, they do not reveal it, of course, to the group, but that's their true hidden agenda. So the job of the exercise is, number 1, who is the mole? And number 2, what was their hidden agenda? So as we're passing out these little pieces of paper with a letter, it's either going to be M or G. You've got a great chance of getting the letter G, and you've got a very small chance of getting the letter M. If you're the letter M, get ready though. You'll be the one, you're the one selected, and don't let anybody know. Yes, Dirk?
So does the mole then decide whatever their hidden agenda is going to be? In other words, it could be really rich or it could be really cheap.
Yes, exactly. You could be someone who knows about the company's finances and it's not doing very well. You just had a financial planner, and it could be very bad or disastrous, and you don't want to reveal what that is, and you go for cheapest. Yes. Money is kind of just out there right now. Hate to say that for you guys. Money, we're just going to create dream money. So sorry about that. But in the process, though, yeah, that could be a hidden agenda. Real easy. Yeah, that can be one. Let's get in the groups if we can. Groups of 4. I actually have 5 envelopes. If we can get into groups of 5, it'd be even better. So maybe, I'm thinking maybe 8 per group.
Yeah, we've got about 35. So
35. So let's try to go, let's do 5 groups of 7 if we can. 5 groups of 7. And we have these envelopes. And if you could do me a favor, could you get in the groups first and face each other? I want to kind of get you in a little circle and face each other.
You know, I was gonna ask about it. Got quiet.
Oh, that's right.
The feedback and the active setting of the
And unfortunately, what I want to do is I want to give you, I was going to try to do this exercise, but I know you got busy days ahead. This sheet right here, if you want to do it on your own, and a lot of people say, Steve, will you create a massive problem for me on my team? You told me all the problems, but what about a real solution? This sheet is where the real solution happens. This can be a great way to really get people's ideas and emotions onto the floor and have them be honest for the first time. This is an actual resolution technique. It's called 3-4-3 against. I'll read it real quick and I'll end. 3-4-3 against is this method of participated decision making requires that for every 3 reasons to support each alternative, the team members must give 3 reasons to oppose it as a team. What you're doing is you're creating a verbal pros and cons list that everybody can hear and you're seeing every angle to a solution. Here's the cool thing about this. Number 1 is it takes advantage of the experts in the group, which I thought about you all. It's perfect because you have people that specialize in this ministry, specialize with youth, specialize with pastoral care, whatever it might be, and you might have experts in the group that you want to take advantage of and get the verbal 3-on-3. The second one is it lays out the pros and cons, but it lays them out in a verbal way. I'm going to warn you though, one thing, it can get heated. And I will be totally honest with you. I'll share a funny story and I'll end. I had a team up in Delaware. I did this training for, can't remember the name of the company anymore. I got a brain fog. But they made spacesuits for NASA. What they would do is they put together the suits and they had a contract with NASA and they built it. It was a little town outside Milford, Delaware, just east of Dover called Frederica. Very small area. And these guys, I tried the 3-4-3 against, and it did blow up my face a little bit. They actually got into a physical confrontation. So what I do is I try to pick the right moment to do this. But let me tell you something, you all. It's powerful. I just don't want it to be powerful in a bad way. So, but I just want to lay out the pros and cons of this as well. But use it. Have fun with it. And sorry I ran over. I know you're busy, but thank you so much for allowing me to be here. I really appreciate it. Have a great morning.